Hi everyone. If you're new to my videos, my name is Michael Smith. I'm a numerologist, psychic medium, and author. I'm also a retired engineer and statistician with a fascination for numbers in general. After a spiritual awakening in 2014, I was drawn to the study of numerology, the ancient science of the energetic qualities of numbers. I was also drawn to the Base-12 number system and how nature seems so aligned with patterns and cycles of 12. As do many spiritual systems. However, traditional Pythagorean numerology follows cycles of 10, or base 10, the number system used today as pretty much the standard worldwide. And the more I studied base 12, the more shortcomings I found with base 10. Shortcomings I'll cover in this video. So, to address these issues with base 10, I adapted Pythagorean numerology to base 12 and have been using it with great success ever since. So in this video, I'll provide an introduction to that Base-12 approach to numerology. Now I should mention that switching to Base-12 in no way discredits the effectiveness of Base-10 numerology, but I believe enhances the depth of analysis possible. I've found that it acts almost like a zoom lens, providing an extra level of focus and detail to numerology. It also clears up some long-standing ambiguities that have always lingered in Base-10 numerology, such as what master numbers really mean and why they aren't reduced from their double-digit form, as well as clarifying the true role of the numbers 10 and 11 as part of a complete enlightenment cycle. First, I'll walk through the basics of numerology, including what it is, how it came into use, and the types of information it can provide. I will then compare base 10 and base 12 side by side to show the similarities and differences, accompanied by some sample calculations to help illustrate things. Then, I'll wrap up our discussion with a quick recap of the benefits of Base-12 and introduce the Base-12 prime vibration shown here, a vibrational blueprint which reveals how Base-12 numerology works as a complete cycle of experience, learning, and enlightenment. It is this prime vibration that has inspired the body of my work in recent years, and continues to inspire and illuminate my own journey of self-discovery. As such, you will see the prime vibration featured prominently in my other videos, including the video called The Prime Vibration of Love, in which I explain how I discovered the pattern in the first place. First, let's take a step back and discuss how numerology began. Science has taught us that everything at the most fundamental level is energy and vibrational motion, from light to sound to atoms and the forces of nature. And as with all other types of vibration, energy always expresses itself through the completion of cycles. Every cycle consists of a sequence of energies or states that combine to achieve energetic completion, such as the annual cycle of the seasons, orbital cycles of planets and stars, the visible spectrum of light, and the cycle of life itself. Ancient civilizations recognized how useful numbers can be to daily life and created simple counting schemes based on some practical multiple or cycle. Base 10 on cycles of 10 and base 12 on cycles of 12 were two examples. They also recognized the consistent and predictable energetic quality of numbers in natural cycles such as the seasons and the planets and their effect on human behavior. And this led to the disciplines of astrology and numerology, where planetary positions and numbers themselves have vibrational qualities too. These vibrational number qualities were then extended to letters and words based on their positions in the alphabet. Now, numerology is typically used in three main areas: personal, business, and general applications. The most widespread use of numerology is for personal guidance, as a divination tool to read a person's energetic personality, relationship compatibilities, talents, challenges, and life path potentials. Basically the same purpose as, say, astrology, tarot cards, or palm readings, but just using numbers instead. Numerology is also useful for selecting the names of babies, pets, or even boats, which resonate with a particular vibe, or for, say, choosing a street address when house hunting. Personal numerology includes the metaphysical belief that we're spiritual, energetic beings who reincarnate to broaden our physical experience of all energies. and that we even choose our parents' date of birth and name to encounter a particular life path theme based on our birth date that will present us with circumstances to learn about that theme, and an expression number based on our birth name for how we can best express ourselves in exploring that theme. There are many other supplementary numbers that make up a full numerology reading, but the life path and expression number are the main ones. And note that it isn't necessary to have any particular spiritual belief to utilize the effectiveness of numerology, because again, it's simply based on the universal principle of vibration. Next, business numerology is used to select energetically effective names for businesses, websites, and products and services, or for, say, career planning, to evaluate the compatibility of potential partnerships or mergers, or perhaps to choose favorable business locations and/or addresses. And last, general numerology explores the energetic meaning of numbers and words to understand how the world works overall, in society, nature, science, and even consciousness. So you can see that numerology has a very broad scope, basically encompassing anything we can express in numbers or letters, which is pretty much everything. Let's now move on to the basics of traditional Base-10 numerology as a lead-up to the Base-12 approach. There are various versions of numerology, but the modern or Western system most widely used is the Pythagorean, which was developed by the Greek philosopher and mathematician Pythagoras in 6th century BC, the same fellow famous for the Pythagorean theorem. Pythagorean numerology uses the decimal system we use today, also called Base-10, with each cycle consisting of the 10 energies from 0 to 9. As given in the list to the right, each number has an energetic theme or personality, from the 1 energy of new beginnings to the 9 energy of completion. Every letter of the alphabet is also assigned a number energy based on its position in the alphabet, as shown in the table at the bottom. Now I should mention that the energy quality I show for each number is very abbreviated and just gives the overall general character of the number's energy. Each number actually represents a range of qualities that all fall under that general characteristic. For example, the number 1 is all about new beginnings, but this includes all the qualities that fall under that umbrella, including independence, self, initiative, drive, creativity, originality, and innovation. As such, individuals with the 1 energy prominent in their profile tend to be independent, driven, and creative self-starters with good leadership ability. They also, however, possess the potential for the other side of the 1 energy, including the tendency to be selfish, arrogant, impatient, controlling, aggressive, and perhaps stubborn. So, this reveals the inherent polarized nature of energy. It always spans a vibrational range of potentials, both positive, high-vibrating ones and negative, lower-vibrating ones. And it's up to us which vibrations we project. This polarity or duality, the theme of the number 2, is a fundamental principle of energy and plays a major role in how we experience life and how the world around us works. Now, to determine the underlying energy of any numerical expression or word, you need to do what's called reducing it to its single-digit form. This is done by adding together all the individual digits of the number to produce a number total, and then repeating that process until you get a single digit, except what are called master numbers like 11, 22, or 33, which aren't reduced further for reasons to be explained shortly. And note that whenever we have a 2-digit number before the final reduction to a single digit, those 2 digits are significant too. They represent the inner themes that contribute to the outer theme of the final number, and are typically shown in the form of inner/outer, for example 27/9, where the outer theme of the 2 plus 7 equals 9 is expressed through the inner themes of the 2 and the 7. Here's a few examples to show how this works for both numbers and words. First, with my own birth date of January 26, 1963, which in numerology is called our life path theme, the main theme we're here to explore. So first, beginning with the month of January, it comes to a 1, so there's no further reduction. The day of 26 adds to a 2 plus 6 equals 8, and my year of birth, 1963, adds up to the 1 plus 9 plus 6 plus 3, or 19, which again we have to further reduce until we get a single digit. So 1 plus 9 equals 10, where once again we have 1 plus 0 equals 1. So together my month, day, and year of birth break down to single digits of 1 plus 8 plus 1. And those total together to give a 10, which again isn't a single digit yet. So 1 plus 0 equals 1. So again, in that notation of inner energy / outer, I have the inner energies of the 1 and the 0 contributing to the outer overall theme of the 1. And in terms of numerology meanings, the 1 represents new beginnings through new beginnings of potential. So basically the 1 through the 1 and the 0. A couple of other words which are unfortunately near and dear to our heart lately are the pandemic and virus, where pandemic can be considered the general overall consequence of something like a virus, and the virus is the specific energy we encounter. So pandemic, for instance, when you add the letter, the equivalent number positions of those in the alphabet, 7, 1, 5, 4, 5, 4, 9, 3, that totals 38 in base 10, which again breaks down to 3 plus 8 equals 11. And because this is an 11, it's a master number, again, which we don't reduce further, and it means illumination. Whereas virus, the letters of that word break down to 4 plus 9 plus 9 plus 3 plus 1 to give 26, which further reduces to 2 plus 6 equals 8, and thus comes through an energy of 26/8, basically of manifestation of the 8 through duality, the 2, of love, of 6. And next, the word nature. That breaks down to a total of 25 when we sum its digits, and the 25 in turn breaks down to 2 plus 5 equals 7. So its overall theme is the theme of 7 of truth, and that's achieved through the duality of change, the 7 through the 2 of the 5. And lastly, the word love. The letters of that sum to a total of 18, which again reduced to 1 plus 8 equals 9. So the theme of love in base 10 is completion of the 9 through new beginnings, 1, of manifestation, 8. As the 5 examples we just walked through were all calculated using the traditional base 10 approach, it's time to explain the base 10 numerology cycle itself and how it differs from the base 12 cycle. As shown at the left of the slide in green, base 10 involves a cycle of 10 energies from 0 to 9, with the meanings of the individual numbers listed in the middle of the slide in black font. These meanings have remained unchanged since they were first intuited thousands of years ago, and have stood the test of time because they work. They accurately reflect the energy with which each number resonates, and which I've validated for myself through the countless readings I've done. Base 12, on the other hand, involves a cycle of 12 energies from 0 to 11, as shown in orange. The energies from 0 to 9 are the very same as for base 10, but we also have 2 new energies to complete the cycle in base 12, the 10 of awareness and the 11 of illumination, which in base 12 are actually single digits, which is why I show them here as underlined, by the way, to differentiate them from their double-digit counterparts. Now you may have noticed that our list of energies follows a logical progression from one number to the next, indeed as it should for a cycle or experience of any kind to achieve completion. So I see the number cycle as a cycle of learning and growth, albeit in energetic terms. And this is what gives numerology its incredible power, as everything in life is a type of cycle after all, a cycle of experience and an opportunity to respond in any way we choose, from positive to negative or anywhere in between. So let's step through the progression of energies to gain an understanding of how each number supports the energy of the next, or restricts it if we get hung up on a particular number theme. First, from potential of the 0, we choose a new beginning to experience of the 1. And every experience of the 1 presents duality of the 2, of contrast to explore and of relationships between ourselves and the world. Next, experiencing duality of the 2 is the catalyst for action, for being influenced by the outside world or influencing our own lives. Next, in catalytic times of the 3, we seek the stability, structure, and safety of the 4. But eventually, from the stability and structure of the 4, comes the desire to take action and to change of the 5. Then, through change of the 5, we have the courage to love, to open ourselves up to the mystery and the level of trust and courage that takes. Through the love of the 6, we're able to see truth more clearly, the energy of the 7. And then, from what we believe as true of the 7, that manifests through reality we experience as the 8, often what's called the law of attraction in esoteric circles. Next, through manifestation of the 8, we achieve completion of the 9. Again, in Base-10 terms, this is considered a physical completion. And then from the 9 to the 0, this completion informs the potential of the next cycle. In this way, every cycle builds on the previous one. We get wiser and more mature, hopefully, from one to the next. Now that spans the scope of the Base-10 cycle. The Base-12 cycle, which is highlighted in the orange, includes all those same steps from 0 to 9, but also through the completion of the 9, that physical completion, we now gain insight and awareness of the 10. And with that great awareness of the 10, allows understanding and illumination of the 11. And finally, that illumination of 11 informs the potential of the next cycle back at 0. So really the addition of those two extra number energies, the 10 and the 11, again as single digits in Base-12, these expand the traditional Base-10 number cycle to be more of a cycle of learning and enlightenment rather than just a cycle of physical completion. Now, basically we see that the overall energy cycle of numerology is very logical and comprehensive when viewed in this way. It not only reflects physical cycles like life and death, but also emotional, intellectual, and spiritual ones, which are all about learning and enlightenment. So you can see why numerology has always been afforded great spiritual significance over the ages, and why it's enjoying a resurgence in popularity during this time of spiritual shift, as is astrology. Both employ the very same number energies, progressive energy cycles, and polarized potentials. Astrology, by the way, was always structured in Base-12, with 12 signs and houses of the zodiac, and every pair of opposing signs creating a polarity of influence. Again, ancient societies well recognized the significance of the 12, at least intuitively. The visible spectrum of light really helps picture how numerology works, because it's all about adding frequencies of energy together in a unifying way. When white light is passed through a glass prism, or a rainbow for that matter, the various frequencies or wavelengths of colors of light are split apart or what's called refracted, and can be recombined back again into white light with another prism. In terms of numerology, the spectrum of colors and light can be considered the range of number energies from 1 to 8 in the case of Base-10, or 1 to 10 in Base-12, and these add together to give the white light of the 9 of completion in Base-10, or the 11 of the illumination in Base-12, and another highlighting the point that illumination is really captured best in Base-12 through that addition of those extra energies. Now, note that by adding more white light to already white light doesn't change it, just as adding a 9 to the sum of 1 to 8, in the case of the Base-10 calculation here, or 11 to the sum of 1 to 10, doesn't change their already complete energy. They're both complete white light in and of themselves. Numerology, especially Base-12 numerology, also behaves just like music. A fundamental musical scale is the chromatic scale, a cycle or octave of 12 vibrational notes, just like the Base-12 numerology cycle. And in music, an octave represents a higher frequency multiple of a given note, which has the same vibrational tone, only higher in pitch. In numerology, this same principle of octave is expressed through master numbers. Again, a master number is the double-digit version of any single-digit number, such as 11, 22, or 33. So, the master number 22, for example, includes not only the 2 energy as a single-digit theme, but also 2 full cycles or octaves of 12 above the 2. As such, 22 resonates with the 2 theme both in terms of a specific experience and full cycles of experience. This is why they're called master numbers. They involve mastering a theme deeply and from several angles. In contrast, when we reduce a multiple digit number to a single digit in numerology, we are essentially working in reverse. We're finding the lowest fundamental number or note that the higher number reduces to. For example, where the number 30 is 3 octaves above 0, reducing it by adding its digits together gives 3 plus 0 equals 3 as its lowest fundamental note. So let's examine master numbers a little more closely. Again, master numbers have special status in numerology. Being higher octave expressions of their single-digit themes, master numbers have higher energetic potential than single-digit energies, but are difficult to sustain. Those with one or more master numbers in prominent areas of their chart possess a particularly strong potential for self-mastery and for making a significant contribution to society for the greater good. However, master numbers operate on 2 levels of intensity: their unreduced full throttle form of elevated inspiration and service, and their gentler single-digit reduced form. This is why I mentioned earlier they're difficult to sustain, except for those we would consider masters who have reached a stage of enlightenment and wisdom such that they personify the greater good constantly. Here, I show the first 3 master numbers and what they traditionally mean in Base-10 numerology versus my interpretation of them in Base-12. In Base-10, master number 11 means illumination in its higher gear, and the 1 plus 1 equals 2 of duality in its lower gear. As such, it embodies the 11's qualities of seeing things with enlightened understanding, of selfless service and inspired intuitive leadership, but also the 2's qualities of balance, cooperation, and peace, and its negative tendencies for separation, competition, and conflict when feeling uninspired. So, when a master number appears in your chart, your highs tend to be higher, but your lows tend to be lower too. In Base-12, master number 11 instead means mastery of self, as the 11 of illumination is now a single-digit theme at the end of the Base-12 cycle, where it belongs, I believe, and not a double-digit outside of the cycle, as in Base-10. This idea of each master number mastering the single digit of its fundamental theme makes more sense anyway, of master number 11 mastering the 1 energy of self, independence, initiative, and leadership in its high gear, and in its low gear, the same qualities of the 1 plus 1 equals 2 theme mentioned for Base-10. The other master numbers, such as 22 and 33, have similar comparisons between Base-10 and Base-12. The 22 in Base-10 being the master builder and capable visionary, able to manifest dreams into practical reality for the greater good, which is the high gear of the 2 theme, but also the 2 plus 2 equals 4 qualities of structure, stability, and security, or the lack thereof, in its lower gear. In Base-12, the 22 instead means mastery of duality, mastering the same high gear of the 2 theme as with Base-10, as well as with the same lower gear of the 4, except with a clearer definition, I believe. Likewise, the 33 in Base-10 is called the master teacher or healer, one with the influential and creative charisma of the 3 to inspire and teach others in its higher gear, but also the 3 plus 3 equals 6 of love, harmony, and compassion, or lack thereof, in its lower gear. In Base-12, the 33 means master catalyst, of simply mastering the 3 theme of the catalyst and with the same higher and lower gears as in Base-10. Now, although master numbers above 33 are not traditionally recognized in Base-10 numerology, the clarity provided by Base-12, that is, of each master number simply mastering its single-digit theme, makes sense of those higher master numbers, in my opinion. 44 denotes mastery of the 4 of structure, with therefore a lower gear of the 4 plus 4 equals 8 of manifestation. just as 55 is mastery of the 5 theme of change, with the lower gear of 5 plus 5 equals 10 of awareness, and so on. Also note how every base 10 master number, when converted to base 12, resonates with the 11 of illumination, still a highly enlightened theme in its own right. As such, base 10 has always been in fairly close agreement with base 12 regarding master numbers being high frequencies. It's just that base 12 fine-tunes those master numbers into their precise meanings, in my opinion. Now, armed with a basic understanding of base 12, let's revisit our earlier base 10 examples to see what alternate meanings are revealed through base 12. First, with my birth date of January 26, 1963, in base 10 in the font in green, that came to a numerology of the 10/1, of new beginnings of the 1 through the new beginnings of the 1 of potential, the 0. In base 12, however, it comes to a numerology of 28/10, of awareness through the duality of manifestation. And let's walk through this example to give you an idea of the math involved. Again, January is already a 1, so it doesn't reduce further. My day of birth, the 26, in base 12 is actually 2 cycles of 12 plus 2, which comes to 22. And my year of birth, 1963, is actually 1177. And I won't break that down mathematically, but you can look that up with any base 10 to base 12 converter. Essentially what it means is that there's 1 cycle of 12 to the power 3, 1 cycle of 12 to the power 2, 7 cycles of 12, plus a 7 remainder. That's basically how the positional math works in base 12. But again, years tend to be more involved to do, so I recommend just looking those up. So what I get in base 12 is a month of 1, plus a birthday of 22, plus a birth year of 1177. And then these further break down to 1 plus 22 plus 14/5, which together reduce to 28, which again, to get to a single digit number, we have to reduce one more time to 2 plus 8 equals 28/10. And I think that reflects well actually what my life path has turned out to be. It's really gaining awareness of how things work, of how nature works, and specifically through the duality of manifestation, through the physical and spiritual duality of how reality manifests. So that really speaks to what my work's been, both as an engineer, but also as on my spiritual path since my awakening in 2014. I really am exploring the two sides of the coin of manifestation and gaining that awareness and sharing it with others through videos such as this and through my books and so on. Now the next word of virus, in base 10 we saw that it came to the 26/8 theme of manifestation through duality of love. But in base 12 we see it actually comes to the master number 22, mastery of duality, which I think between those two definitions, I would say base 12 is a more accurate assessment. Essentially a virus, its very nature is a test of contrast, a test of basically attacking an organism and yes, manifesting like base 10 says, but it's really about challenging that organism to build up immunity. So really to master the duality of having that exposure. Now the word pandemic, on the other hand, in base 10 came to the 11 of illumination, which yes, that sort of makes sense, is that it's really a very heightened expression of exposing all of the themes, all the themes that we can experience under those conditions, and really testing us on those. But in base 12, it instead comes to the 32/5 theme of change through the catalyst of duality. So really, on an even deeper level, a pandemic really causes us to change and to reassess everything about society and about how we live in society through the catalyst of the virus, of that duality of the two. Next, the word nature in base 10 came to the 25/7 of truth through duality of change. Whereas in base 12, it comes to the 21/3 of the catalyst through duality of new beginnings. And between those two different definitions, again, I would say base 12 is a little more accurate. It's really where nature is all about being the catalyst of new life and growth and rebirth, but through the balance of new beginnings, really which defines ecology itself. And last but not least, the word love in base 10 came to the 18/9 theme of completion through new beginnings of manifestation. Yeah, sort of a so-so definition in my opinion. Whereas in base 12, it comes to the 16/7 theme of seeing truth through new beginnings of love. So really it is showing that love is the core to revealing the truth in things. So I think a much more appropriate interpretation of what the word love resonates with. So to recap the major benefits of base 12 and why it seems to be the true language of numerology and indeed of nature herself. It resolves the inconsistencies of base 10 numerology, such as the meaning of master numbers, the significance of the 10 and 11 as specific themes, and it refines the numerology cycle itself to reach completion with the 11 of illumination, rather than just the 9 of physical completion, a much more intuitively correct cycle, I believe. Base 12 also revealed itself as a number system that's more versatile mathematically, with 5 ways of describing itself versus only 3 ways in base 10. Also, base 12 aligns with the cycles and patterns of nature, perhaps its most important feature, much more so than base 10 system, which is actually quite artificial and arbitrary as a choice for a global standard. And last but not least, base 12 aligns with the intuitive wisdom of 12 understood by ancient civilizations, in how they track time, how they rationalize the behavior of nature, and even how they structured their spiritual beliefs. We see the 12 appearing frequently. As we wrap up, everything about base 12 numerology can really be summarized in a single picture, quite literally in fact. That picture is the base 12 prime vibration shown here, a vibrational pattern which emerges when prime numbers are expressed through the base 12 cycle. This reveals how all the 12 numbers from 0 to 11 correspond to specific vibrational geometries within that waveform, geometries which precisely match their themes in base 12 numerology. The prime vibration further shows how all the numbers work together as a complete cycle or octave of experience, learning, and enlightenment, just like light, music, and life itself. It truly is a blueprint of self-mastery and the first visual depiction of numerology with a solid mathematical basis, that I'm aware of anyway. And most importantly, the prime vibration shows how the source and destination of every experience we have and every choice we make is always centered in love, the vibrational nature of love. I hope this video provided a helpful introduction to numerology and to the base 12 approach in particular. I suspect we're all going to see and hear much more about base 12 and the prime vibration in coming years, as science and our understanding of energy continues to evolve, and how numbers truly have energetic qualities beyond just their face values. And with that, bye for now, and thanks so much for watching.